Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Season 3, Episode 1 of The Owl House. So, this is a really interesting situation because, as you know, we're getting 3 episodes of The Owl House Season 3. They are all double length, and they are going to be released at separate times, sometime apart from each other. There's some theories running around as to when they're going to be released, but we know the second and third will be released next year. And one of the theories is that it's going to kind of be like Gravity Falls, Weirdmageddon finale, where it's like, oh, we're going to release them like months apart and everything. So some people are saying, oh, maybe the next one will be in January and the one after that will be in April, something like that. I've heard all kinds of theories on when they're going to actually be, how far apart they're going to be spread. We don't know all the details as of yet, but we'll find out eventually. But we do have the first of these episodes released. And interestingly enough, it is released onto YouTube. And apparently one of the production team, Rebecca Rose, has stated on Twitter that this is where we should watch it. Because apparently watching it here on YouTube gives it the right views and the right incentive for possible future content of The Owl House. Although the main series is going to be ended, there could be some possible future content to some degree. And that's an exciting prospect, honestly. But so we're going to do something that I don't think I've done in a long time, and that is watch an official episode of something on YouTube. Like, outside of like an actual YouTube series or something, I mean. Like a show that normally airs on TV. The last time I did something like this was way back in the day when I was like watching episodes of shows in like 8 parts. Like, oh, it's 8 parts and it's like 5-minute parts each or something like that. And you have to watch each video to watch the entire episode, and it's you remember when you had to do that, especially for like anime and stuff. People would post like little bits at a time and post just a bunch of separate videos for it back in the day. That's like outside of like watching again like a YouTube series like Hell of a Boss or something. That's like the last time I actually watched like a television show on YouTube doing that kind of stuff. I've seen movies on YouTube in terms of like, you know, the ones you purchase and or rent or whatnot, but not like a series like this, like a TV series. So this is interesting, but it is up in full on YouTube, full quality and everything. So all is good on that end. Now, as for what I know about this, so where we left off, the Collector had taken over in the Demon Realm. The Boiling Isles had become his plaything. Belos was defeated, but it's very much implied that he has continued to live to some degree and hitched a ride on Hunter's shoulder. And our main cast of kids, save for King, who chose to stay back to protect everyone else, have gone to the human world, where at the very end we see them arrive at the Noseda household. It was intense as fuck, to say the least, and left off on a very good cliffhanger. Like, I would like with season 2 cliffhangers leaving off like this is the same vibes as Amphibia's season 2 cliffhanger. Amphibia's season 2 cliffhanger is actually very similar with the intensity, the threat level, the emotional aspect of it all, and even just the where our characters leave off. It's a very similar vibe. And unfortunately, we're not going to get the same kind of thing as with season 3 of Amphibia because, again, we only have 3 episodes because of Disney canceling and shortening the final season. It's really unfortunate, but we're not going to be able to do as much with this. And because of this, yeah, a lot of this is probably going to feel rushed. A lot of this is going to feel like, oh, this would have been much better if there was much more time to tackle all of this information. But there's not really anything we can do about that. And so I feel it's best to kind of judge going into this episode as it is, to judge the episode as it is, rather than what it could be. Of course, I'm going to still think of what it could have been, and I'm going to think of like, oh, like, yeah, this could have been done better if it were like spread out more into multiple episodes and stuff. It's like, yeah, of course I'm going to think that, and that's fair. But I'm also going to judge it based on what we do get. And I'm going to be completely fair to the team, to Dana, to everyone who worked on this. Because they've been doing the best they could. And they're trying to give this a satisfying conclusion despite what has been done to, you know, just harm their show and whatnot. And it's basically another Legend of Korra situation. Except at least Owl House was able to get away with the gay. Even if that is presumably one of the main reasons why Disney has shortened the final season and is cutting it back. But at least they were able to do a lot more than Legend of Korra was, because, yeah, Brian and Michael were really fucked over on that. But it's the same kind of situation with the parent company just fucking over the actual creators of these shows. Legend of Korra's creators were fucked over on so many levels during the production of that. And it's just like, it was so bad. It was a shit show. And again, fortunately, the creators were able to put out the best they possibly could, and were able to make something of it. They did what they had to. They did what they could despite the circumstances and the company behind their back. But they still managed to do something. And I feel like we have to give Dana and her team all the props, all the credit for that, for doing it here. Even if it could have been better, even if, yeah, with better pacing and more episodes, there could have been a lot more focus on this. We have to just acknowledge it for what it is. And we have to, again, give all the love to the crew for everything they've done for this show. And again, maybe we'll get more content in the future. Even if it's not the main series, more content would still be appreciated. And by continuing to support this, we continue to show Disney and other companies that this is the kind of content we want. This is the kind of stuff that we're going to tune in for and give them the money and the viewership for. This is their most popular show. And it's a show that they've effectively canceled. So, yeah. That says a lot, does it not? I mean, it's already got 1.2 million views in such a short time of being up on YouTube. So, yeah, just think about that. But what do I know going into this? I don't know anything about the plot or whatnot of this episode, or where this is going to go at all. I don't know anything that happens. The only thing I know is that the characters have new looks. But the poster spoiled that. There was a new character poster that was released prior to the season's episode and everything, and it just showed the new looks for the characters. And it's like that's something I'm not as worried about, because it's like that happens with a lot of shows. Characters have new looks and whatnot here and there. That's not that surprising. So I knew about the new looks, and that's pretty much it. Luckily, even though I'm getting to this a couple days after it originally came out, I've luckily been able to avoid spoilers because I was not around and online most of that time, or at least not on like a lot of social media. Because I spent the weekend out everywhere. On Saturday, I went with my brother and sister to the cider mill, which was pretty fun. Got to pet some goats and stuff. And then afterwards, I pretty much had to head almost right away to a Halloween party, in which I spent the entire rest of the night at and everything. And then on Sunday, I spent the entire day at my friend's place, and we watched a bunch of stuff there. There were three of us there. I was introducing them to some shows like Dead End, and one of them hadn't seen Centaur World yet, so I was introducing them to that. Plus, we watched pony stuff and everything. And so it's like, I was like seeing some stuff posted on Discord and all during that time, but I wasn't really on Twitter or other social media, so I didn't see any spoilers. It worked out. And I'm recording this like pretty much right away, Monday morning, so no worries about spoilers at this point either. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. As I've made very clear, Owl House has become one of my favorite shows. From its representation to just excellent writing, character work, the visuals, all of it. The emotional connection you just feel towards the characters. And we have 3 more double-length episodes to finish this off. And it's gonna be annoying to have to wait for more. But I'm still excited to see what we get for this one. And as obvious, since this is just a one thing at this moment, it is just being posted randomly. It's not like on any part of the schedule. And the second and third episode of the season will be the same. There won't be any kind of like full-on schedule. It's just when I get to them, I'll post them pretty much right away that day. It's a special upload for the channel, basically. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to see the beginning of the end here. I've heard some people like give some non-spoiler thoughts on it, and most people seem to be entirely in the positive, but there's maybe a little bit of mix in there as well. But obviously, I'll form my own thoughts. And again, I'm going to view this kind of like for what Dana and the team were able to do with what they were given. And yeah, like I said, I'll think about like what it could have been maybe, but I'm going to still focus on the quality that Dana and the team have still been able to give us in what it is. So we're just going to get this started and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the links to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. One episode in, and season 3 is already making me cry. Not surprising at all. Okay, so before anything else, because there's quite a lot to talk about, obviously. Like I said, there's kind of 2 ways to view this. One, how it could have been, and then how it is, based on the circumstances. Obviously, there's a lot of this that could definitely come across as rushed. There's a lot that would have possibly just straight up been better if there was more time given to it, more episodes in the season to allow it to breathe a little more. Because remember, we had like 10 episodes in Amphibia Season 3 in the human realm. More than half of the season. We got time to spend with the Moon Choice and got to meet a bunch of new characters who we ended up growing to love. We got to see a lot of how the planters were learning about and acclimating to the human realm. We don't get that in this, not as much. It's either relegated to a few things here and there, or, a montage. Because there's just not enough time. There's so much to focus on, so much to get through in these 3 episodes that you can't really spend time focusing on everything you would like to. And so it's undeniable that there could have been a lot more that was gone into, and a lot of the stuff that we saw in these montages could have been easily expanded upon through various means, such as just full episodes dedicated to certain things. Like, you can imagine, like, just a full episode dedicated to Luz coming out as bi to her mother and introducing Amity as her girlfriend to her. Like, there's so much that could have been done with that, even with, like, Luz maybe being worried about it, about what her mother might think. There's just a lot that they could have done with that, and with many other things here. But again, Disney fucked Dana and the team over, and it's like, here, have 3 double-length episodes. It's what you get. And so the other view we have to look at it with is, how did Dana and the team do with what we have? And honestly, I think they did phenomenally. I think this episode was fantastic for the circumstances that Dana and her team were put into. Like I said, there were some things that would have been better if there was more time to explore them and go into them more deeply. But for what Dana and her team were given, they made the best possible episode they could have here. It was still phenomenal. It was still extremely well done on all levels. And without question, it's still like quality peak Owl House. But there's so much that's going to just have to be left unexplored. So much that's going to have to be just with a little bit of stuff we got in this. It sucks, but nothing else we can do. So, obviously, like I said, there's a lot to discuss here. I'm going to try to get everything that I can. But we're not going to be able to get to everything. I might miss something. I might forget something. I might just even leave something out. But we'll try to get to as much as we can here and try to keep it as brief as possible. But again, there's a lot. So let's start with just the basic concept, because it's very similar to the first half of Amphibia Season 3. And that is, after coming to the human realm, the characters have to try and find their way back and are spending some time to do so. They're figuring things out, exploring the human realm, learning more about it. Obviously, everyone's being introduced to Camila and V, of course. And everything's just kind of being learned about. But their goal is obviously to get back. And it's the same thing that happened in Amphibia. In Amphibious Season 3, that was the thing. They went through the portal, kind of were forced to go through it, and they had to come back out in the end to just get back to everything and solve the issues going on back in the demon realm. Now, the exacts, of course, of everything that happened are different, but either way. So Camila seems to get, not, I wouldn't say completely comfortable with magic really quickly, but it's clear that she becomes used to it enough to where she's okay with it. As we see, like, right away, less than a minute in, it, like, shows Gus helping her with the dishes and using his magic to do so. And we see her smiling and clearly thankful for the help and all. And that's, again, less than a minute in. It's during this montage of stuff that's just, well, it's not quite the montage, but you know what I mean. It's just this stuff that's happening really early on. And we could see, like, right away as well when Luz and Hunter are talking when away from the rest of them, that we can kind of see where their focuses are going to lead into this episode. Luz is afraid to tell everyone about the fact that she helped Belos and that she feels responsible for everything that's happened. And Hunter's afraid to tell them that he's a Grimwalker, that he's not naturally born, that he's, as some people would put it, as he would put it, not a real boy. But the thing that both of them are missing here is obviously that, of course, their friends will accept them. There's absolutely nothing they have to worry about, but it's that innate internal fear that a lot of people have. Even when we know that our friends and family and whatnot would accept us, we still worry about that. A lot of people go through this for a lot of different reasons, whether through situations of guilt like this, through not feeling like they're worthy of love, or even people like coming out of the closet. It's a really big deal for so many people, and it's real. It's not as simple as just saying, like, oh, you have nothing to worry about, because that's not how their minds are working. That's not what their brains are telling them at the moment. And even if they know this, like, most of the time, the people know that there's nothing to worry about, but again, their mind's playing tricks on them. Their brain is being mean to them. And that overrides, a lot of times, the knowledge that they know it's going to be okay. And we see that in full force here. Luz and Hunter are both smart enough to know that their friends will accept them. Luz knows that Amity would be fine and understand, that Willow and Gus would be fine and understand. And Hunter knows that Willow and Gus and Amity and Luz and them, that they'd all be fine with him and still love him and care for him. They get that. But they're still, it's just that internal fear, and it's something they can't just push away. It's anxiety. And it's real. And you don't have to, like, have a full-on clinical anxiety to feel that. Everyone feels that to some degree. Even the most seemingly put together people go through stuff like this. And it's perfectly normal. It's perfectly human. Or in this case, just natural and, real. Because obviously they're not. Well, Luz is the only human of this friend group, But still. And again, another thing we see very early on, just presented to us, it's like this is going to be a thing, is the return of Belos. And we knew about that. That was obvious from the last episode of season 2. But it's definitely touched on a lot more here, and it's built up. And again, for as much as they had, as much as they were given, Dana and the team made the build-up work. The build-up is set throughout the episode so that when Bellows does return by the end, it feels like it was properly worked up to. The pacing was done well in regards to what they had to do. And we see everything kind of working up to that. We see how things are going throughout this. Now then we get to the montage, and there's definitely some more I want to look through here. I have the video open, I'm going through it. Because the montage kind of also acts as like sort of, I guess you could say, the opening to the episode. I don't know if we're going to get a different one for each episode, because I don't feel like this would work again now that they're not going to be in the human realm anymore. Especially since it's not like an opening in a classic sense. Like there's some little like obviously nods to the previous openings, but it's a montage. It's a montage of events that are occurring with them in the human world. Like we see them go to the house to check it out. We see Luz open up her laptop and starts to play this video. Lumity Studios, I like that. That's cute, by the way. So let's take a look at this video. So we start off with like the picture of them at the prom and everything, or Grom rather, with Luz like pulling Amity into like a embrace and everything. There's another picture here of the two just hanging out together. It looks like they're reading probably an Azora book. And Amity, you know, blushy and smiley. Luz is looking at her with this big old grin and everything. They're watching a shooting star or whatnot on top of the owl house. This absolutely stunningly, gorgeously drawn shot of Amity with her arms around Luz's shoulders and all of them, cheek to cheek, just like it is so obnoxiously well drawn. It's like it almost kind of looks like fan art, and in the best way possible. I mean, like in terms of like the really fucking high quality fan art that you've probably seen for this show, because there's a lot of it. Because the fan community for this loves to make some really good fan art. Like, it is really fucking good. In fact, that's probably my thumbnail. You guys will have seen that, but I'm sure that's my thumbnail. So then it goes into the screen that says, "Hi, I'm bi." And it shows, like, this one's more of like a hand drawing kind of thing, with Luz holding a bi flag, holding Amity's hands and everything. And you see Luz's dorky ass grin when it pans from the laptop screen up to her. And Camila's just instantly accepting and loving, goes in to hug them both, and it's super cute. Gus's illusions come in with the bi flags and the rainbows. It's like, yeah, just full on, like, super, super queer, and it's beautiful. See the Palismans here, while Flapjack is pecking around, as we know, looking for the Rebus. They're drawing some pictures. We see Gus's dad, Willow's dads, Amity's dad and siblings. Not her mom, though. Fair. But as you can see, Hunter doesn't really have a drawing. They're all putting up drawings of their parents, and Hunter doesn't have one. And Luz, obviously, they're with her mom, so she doesn't need one there. But it's definitely, like, it's a little shot, and it doesn't really show much, but you can see how sad Hunter is to not have that kind of support system anymore. Like, he thought he had Bellows, but obviously that's gone now. Then we see our first possum of the episode. There ends up being multiple. We see the crew getting some different looks, just, you know, trying out human fashion. Gus has, like, a beanie, sunglasses, a jacket. Willow has, like, this punk skater girl look, which is amazing, by the way. Amity in, like, this kind of, like, emo, witchy, Hot Topic outfit. And again, I mean that in the best way. I have to make sure on that, because some people would actually use that as, like, an insult or something. But I mean it in the best way. Also, the hat kind of reminds me of... oh God, what is it? The ghost girl from, was it Paper Mario? The trans ghost girl, like canonically trans ghost girl from, I think it's Paper Mario. I think it's Vi or something like that. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, but the hat kind of reminds me of that character. But that look is just absolutely fierce on Amity. And then, god damn it, I actually didn't notice this before while watching. Hunter's just wearing a fursuit. Hunter's wearing a fursuit that looks like Flapjack Cardinal and everything. It's like, oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I cannot handle this. I can't deal with this. I did not notice that before. I was focused more on the others. I did not even notice. Luz seems to like it, though. And then we see V's new look. So V's new look was first shown in the poster, and everyone was wondering, like, is that V and everything, and just kind of, like, assuming it had to be based on everyone else being in there. And then, like, people looked at it closer, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's got to be V and everything. And I like her new look. It's more, well, original, more just her. It's a new look that feels just entirely her. She doesn't have to pretend to be Luz anymore, or like some kind of hybrid form and whatnot. And I think it's really cute. Like how we see her first with this like pumpkin sweater. It's adorable. Also, the Halloween theming with this. It's like having it come out in October, mid-October it's just great timing. I have to assume that was at least to some degree intentional. But yeah, the Halloween theming is fantastic. And yeah, V is just absolutely adorbs. And I love how like when V comes out with her new look, Camila is just like fawning the like shit over her. Like she's Camila's daughter at this point. It's just how it is. Camila has unofficially adopted her. Okay, then we get the like witch hunters at Gravesfield, and it starts to go into more like Hunter's perspective and the fears and the concerns of everything, and you know his origin and family. I guess you could call it family. We see the glimpse of Bellos in the mirror there, and Hunter realizes, yeah, I have to cut my hair. I'm starting to look too much like this family. And so Willow comes in and helps him. And it's really cute on all the blushy faces. The Palisman's trying to help them open up a door. A portal. Gus misusing the fire extinguisher. Yeah, we get to see a few different looks for all these characters. Like, we get to see, like, them in different outfits, human outfits and stuff. And we see their looks as they, like, change as it goes along. Like, with Amity and Willow's hair, for example. It's a really good montage, but again, as is noted, it would have been better to see some of this stuff expanded upon a little more, and to see just a little more time given to it. It's just going to be how it is. But as a montage and everything, it does still work, and it's still cute. And Amity, Luz getting Amity into the non-boiling rain is adorable, and them dancing together in the rain. It's super cute. I love it so much. Just everything about this. Yeah, most people are going to use this shot of like Amity and Luz in the rain as a thumbnail, I feel. Or already have, probably. But I'm definitely using that other shot that's just really, really good picture. And it's spoiler free, mind you. It doesn't like tell you really anything about what happens in the episode. So we didn't get the Palisman yet. That's another thing to note with this. We see the Palisman here as Luz is going to be heading to school and everything before it fades into the titles, ending off the montage and everything. That's one thing we didn't get. It was mentioned multiple times throughout the episode, but the Palisman has not hatched yet. I'm thinking it's going to happen next episode. I don't think they're going to wait until the final episode. I think it's going to happen next episode. I think it's going to need to. I think waiting until the final episode would just be too late. But they're gonna need the Palisman for the next one for sure. So now I'm going to try to talk about, like, now that we've gone through the montage stuff, try to talk about some more individual stuff, I guess, instead of just going, like, more down the line of events. So let's talk about Camila in this. As I mentioned in the reaction, at the beginning of the series, and through a lot of it, even into season 2 and everything, Camila was a character who it took time for me on. Because the way Camila was presented at the very beginning of the series before Luz went into the demon realm and everything was concerning. The basically Reformation camp and everything, the way she was telling Luz to basically not be herself, that she had to be more normal and everything, was concerning. And it took me a while, and a lot of people bitched at me on Twitter. A lot of people bitched at me on Twitter about things. And it just, like, it's really concerning. Because I made assumptions on a character based on very little information. But to be fair, it is all the information I had. So I didn't really have anything else to go on. And the thing is, neither did anyone else. People just were making excuses for her and trying to, like, excuse her actions based on having no real evidence to support her being anything better than that. And again, I take back what I said. I very much do. I did by the middle of season 2, when we had V first introduced and, you know, got to spend a lot more time with Camila and everything. Like, I had already taken that back, but when this entire thing on Twitter happened, that was before that. Like, I think a couple episodes before that, a couple weeks. But people were still trying to defend her based on pretty much nothing. And again, while I take back what I said, I had the same material to work off of that they did, and the material was telling me that, not that she was a bad person, but that she wasn't the best either. That she had issues in how she was raising Luz and how she was treating her. And again, I went very much too far with how I stated it and all. Like, I was claiming abuse full on. And that was a little much. And I admit that. I definitely admit I went too far with things. But again, there was very little to work off of, and I was speaking on an emotional point based on my own experiences. So, yeah, I went too far, but at the same time, all we had for Camila was not really great. The fact that Luz's biggest fear, as shown in the Grom episode, was her mother finding out about this, was also very concerning as to how she viewed her mother. And we know now that that's not the case, but again, just speaking from that time with where things were at. And this episode basically not only just completely erased everything from my views on it from then, but it explained basically that I was entirely wrong in every way. That the opposite of everything I had thought was true. Is true. You know what I mean. Camila was entirely supportive of Luz from the beginning. And especially after the death of Manny, Luz's father, she was really supportive and everything with Luz's creativity and her goofiness and her weirdness. And we got to see this from a perspective we had not seen before. Like when Luz was doing the play and she, like, had the fake guts and everything. We saw Camila laughing at that and saying it's like her father taught her that. And we also saw her defending Luz from people who would be saying bad things about her. This is stuff we didn't have before. We just didn't. It's information that is new. And it reframes everything. We even find out that the only reason Camila suggested the camp was because she was kind of forced into it. She was guilted into it. And it's like, again, it reframes the beginning of this series and everything we had with Camila prior to the mid-season finale of season 2. It reframes it completely and shows that Camila was always an amazing mother. And yeah, I like that. I love that it did that. And I feel it was kind of necessary to do so, because we definitely needed a lot more information there that we had not gotten. And again, it would have been probably fed to us differently if this were given a full season order. But with what we got, we had to take it as it was given. So yeah, Camila was definitely expanded upon and made even better in this. And also her acceptance of everyone and just, claiming them as her kids and everything now too is like so fucking adorable and awesome. And it's just like, I never expected to be a mother of 6. That was fantastic. But again, the fact that she sees them all in that way and everything is great. That she's fallen in love with them like right off the bat, and she cares for them and will protect them. And in the end, she's even going to the demon realm with them. I was actually, that one actually caught me by surprise. Like, obviously I knew she was going to do something to stop Luz's plan to stay, but I actually did not expect that. I did not expect she was going to go back with them. That one caught me off guard. But I also love it. It is the one of the biggest surprises of this, at least, of this episode, and probably my favorite. Like, that, some people might find that surprising, might think like, oh, other surprises in this would have been like higher up, but no, that was probably my favorite. The fact that Camila is going to the demon realm as well. And now we're going to have to see her get acclimated to things, just like how we saw everyone else get acclimated to the human realm. So that's fun. But yeah, I can't wait to see what Camila ends up doing there. And I can't wait to see Camila and Ida meet. Oh god, that is going to be amazing. It's just going to be fantastic. And I know there's already going to be people like wanting to see them like hug it out and thank each other or whatnot, and like Ida thanking Camila for bringing Luz into the world in the first place, and for being there for everyone when everything happened. And obviously Camila thanking Ida for taking so good of care of Luz during those months she was in the demon realm, or however long it was. So it's like, yeah, it would be really cool to see that. And we have no idea, like, this didn't touch on anything that happened in the demon realm. We have no idea what we're stepping into, because it's been months that they've been in the human realm. So they have no idea what they're stepping into with what's happening with the Collector, with King, with Ida and Rain and everything else. We know that the Day of Unity was stopped, so mostly everyone should be good, right? But we also don't know what the Collector is doing. We only saw like what he was starting to do at the end of season 2, but we don't actually know where that's gone to. And now Belos is heading back too, so there's that to address. Even though Belos may not be at full power or anything, it's like he's still a threat still. So that's a thing. And so let's talk about that aspect of this episode. Hunter, Belos, the brothers Woodabane, all that. So let's start with the fact that we find out, like, for sure the history of the brothers Woodbine to some degree. Because it's like all of this stuff was already inferred by the portraits in Belos's mind and everything, but we get like the full confirmation of everything here. So, and some new info too. We find out that the brothers Woodbine were orphans. I don't think we had that information before. And I also don't think we knew that Caleb was the older brother. I think that's new information. But either way, so Caleb and Philip were brothers. Caleb was the older one. They were orphans. And due to the times and everything, they became witch hunters. Eventually, a witch named Evelyn, very close to Edelyn. So that's kind of lending to the idea that that theory could possibly be right, that maybe it was one of Ida's ancestors, in which case, is Ida possibly related to the Woodbines? I guess the possibility exists. People had already theorized about that, so it's out there now. There's no direct confirmation on that yet, but it's possible. But yeah, Caleb and Evelyn apparently fell in love, and they went to the demon realm. Philip chased them into there, and we kind of know what happened from there. At least to some degree, based on the portraits in Belos's mind. We at least get the gist of how it went downhill and how Belos kind of fucked everything up. So, yeah. But it's interesting to get the confirmation on a lot of stuff in this, and we see throughout the episode that Hunter, while fearing that he's not going to be seen as, you know, a real person, the fact that he's a clone of Caleb and everything, we see how he's handling this, and we see how, like, when his hair grows longer, he's scared he's starting to look too much like Belos, so he just starts to try and cut it. And we see how he's just very obviously uncomfortable with everything going on. But he's still trying. He's still trying. He's still doing his best, working with everyone else. And he's finding happiness still. But Belos is lurking close by, and he's getting glimpses of this. Eventually, he tells Luz, and although Luz is unsure of it at first, they go to try and stop him in the house. They don't end up finding him, finding only a possum instead, which Luz calls an angel, and that's fucking adorable. And it's like, yeah, internet culture and people nowadays, a lot of millennials and younger tend to view possums in a very positive light. It's pretty fitting. But we see, like, Hunter needs, like, a mask to feel more confident, which is all completely fair. But it's like, okay, that's a good touch. It's a Hootie mask, so it's kind of similar to his Golden Guard mask in a little bit of a way. Not entirely, but kind of a little bit. Just in the general shape. Handmade Hootie mask, of course. But we then, of course, go into other stuff happening, and eventually Luz has to follow Hunter again, this time into the woods, as the Titan blood thing is brought up and everything, and eventually, as she catches up with him, he had been taken over by Belos. And we knew this was going to happen. There was a point earlier at the house where it showed that Belos had already, like, kind of joined with Hunter, and so we see horns and stuff grow on Hunter. It's really, like, at that point I was panicked. I won't lie, I was panicked. I was afraid that Hunter was going to die. And then we see, like, Belos, like, almost kill Flapjack, and it's like my anxiety just instantly just exploded through the roof at that point. But Hunter manages to stop him, and I'm still at this point worried that Hunter's going to die. And then it's like, it's kind of made clear that Hunter almost does die after Belos and everything, and then Flapjack dies to save Hunter, and it's like I had just seen Chainsaw Man episode 1 recently, and it's like Pochita and everything saving Denji and kind of becoming one with him, and it's kind of the same thing here. It's eerily similar. Um, and the thing is, I don't know if like that was intended. I don't know if like Dana and the crew based this to some degree off of like Chainsaw Man's opening chapters and all, because the episode wasn't out yet by the time when they were working on this, but the manga was. um, I almost kind of doubt it. I think it's just a coincidence, but it's eerily close. And it's so fucking sad. We basically got a death in this episode. I mean, it seems like Flapjack has become a part of Hunter in a way, but at the same time, Flapjack basically died to save Hunter's life, and it's like, Jesus fuck, really? I know there's only 3 episodes this season, but come on. You don't have to do me like this. But he does survive. He's just a little more scarred, and Belos was expelled from him, and, Belos got the Titan's blood that was in the human realm, and was able to manage to escape through the portal, which everyone else did after, except V. Because V is not ready for that at the moment, which, fair. I don't blame her. But yeah. That's fun. Shit went down there for sure. But we see like throughout the episode, we see also Hunter and Gus are getting into this new book, kind of like how Amity and Luz are into the Azora books. There's this new series of sci-fi books that are brought into Owl House like this. And it seems like it's basically like kind of like a Star Trek kind of thing, just as in book form. But the two are getting into it, talking about it, obsessing over the characters, and it's great to see Hunter and Gus continuing to be like best buddies. While also this episode makes it clear that Hunter still is very much crushing on Willow. Hunt-Low is definitely going to happen. I'm 100% on that. With how Dana loves the ship so much, it's definitely happening. But yeah. We see Gus and him just being bros and hanging out and cosplaying and stuff, wearing their costumes for Halloween as the characters. And when Camila sees them and hears them talking about it, it's like, how did you find out about these books? And it's like, oh, we found the books in the basement. It's like, oh, the basement. Yeah, isn't it funny how books just show up where you don't expect them to? And it's like, oh god. Okay, so Camila was a secret nerd. So Camila was a secret nerd the whole ass time and was super into these nerdy ass books the same way Luz is super into Azora, which her father was clearly into and got her into because it was something he left behind for her. And Camila had her own obsession like that, and it's just like, I want to see fan art of like a younger Camila cosplaying as like a sci-fi character now. It's like, that would be great. And again, it's like this helps build up Camila's character in a way that's really satisfying and recontextualizes the information we had prior to this, and especially prior to the season 2 mid-season finale. So yeah, I really like that aspect of the episodes too. And we see just, again, more stuff of them going throughout the town and trying to figure things out. They go to the zoo and see the giraffe, which, Jesus fuck, I was not prepared for that. But I guess, yeah, I mean, we already were told that giraffes came from the demon realm and were banished here, but okay. I just was not prepared for that. I thought it was just going to be like a joke because giraffes are just weird or something, and they're just like, they're still what we know as giraffes. We had Grey Griffin's character return as one of V's friends who now works at the Historical Society, where that other guy was, but, he got fired. And he was shown in the episode briefly, just being a crazy person as usual. But yeah, now Grey Griffin's character works there and everything, and she ran the haunted hayride and everything. It's like I'm glad she was in there too, and I hope she and V become more friends. And V blushed at her, like V was blushing at her, and it's like, oh my god, I ship it. I don't give a fuck. I ship it. Yeah, yeah, okay. We've seen them interact before. They met at camp and everything. They became good friends. Um, though at the time, of course, she thought that was Luz. Gray's character thought that was Luz, but yeah, it's just I love it so much. I ship them. I don't give a shit. I do not give a shit. Um, but yeah, we get to see some of her in this as well. We see Luz wondering what her talisman will be. Will it be a bird? Will it be a bug? Will it be an octopus so she can hold hands with it? Um, which is cute, but also it's like it could be anything really. And that's the point. I know that was what Luz was going for. But it's like I don't even know at this point. There's been a lot of theories. A lot. And it's just like I don't think we're supposed to know. Someone might have guessed it right, but it's like I think this is a secret that Dana and them are keeping close to their chest. I don't think it's going to be like one of the easy predictions based on different things we've seen here and there. I don't think it's going to be something that simple. We see in the episode, though, that they're definitely building up to that. Again, I think it's going to be next episode when the talisman finally hatches. But another thing we see is the video diary thing. So Luz records this video diary, which we find out later she is planning to stay in the human realm permanently, while everyone else goes back. She feels guilty for everything. She doesn't feel like she deserves to be with everyone and to, help save things, considering she feels she's the reason behind it all in the first place. And we end up seeing Camila see this video diary along with some others that expand upon Luz's feelings after her father's death and everything, and how she became obsessed with Azora and all. And we find out later, again, the thing where Camila decides to go with them instead. It's like Luz is about to tell them, I'm going to stay, but then Camila is like, no, I'm coming with you. And it's like, again, it took me so off guard that that's what she decided to do, but I love it so much. I love it so much. I love Camila so much. I loved her already with the season 2 mid-season finale. But this one definitely made Camila jump up really high in the rankings for me. I'm definitely gonna have to go through like a character tier list again and everything, just to state like my rankings for characters after this and to figure out exactly where Camila places now. But gonna be pretty damn high up, I can tell you that much for absolute sure. I love Gus interfering in that recreational witch trial play. That was fucking amazing. How he just interferes and everything. And then you see, again, the absolute turd burger come in and try to say, oh, can't you see he's here for our teeth and shit. And it's like, he's from Mars. Can't you see his ears? And it's like, shut the fuck up, you dumbass. He's taken away by the cops, and it's like, okay, that's satisfying. And then again, after that, the entire shit with Hunter and Bellows happens, and it's like, anxiety. But the ending where they all go through the portal, one after another, and then Luz and her mother go through together, it's just, yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. And this in general first episode of season 3 was phenomenal. Again, it could have been better if things were spread out a little more. But for what they had, for what Dana and the crew were given by, Disney and everything, they did their absolute fucking best and they nailed it. They hit a home run out of the park, out of the city, out of the fucking state. They hit a home run. And bases were loaded. Everything was against them. 2 strikes. It was either you get this, or 2 strikes and 2 outs. You either get this or it switches to the other side. And it's like, in that case, obviously, I hope you're understanding the metaphor. I'm trying here, okay? They did amazing. That's what I'm saying. They did absolutely fantastic. Okay? I'm making a baseball metaphor because I like baseball and it kind of fits. They did wonderfully. Again, it could have been a little more spread out. That it could have helped with some things, but coulda, woulda, shoulda doesn't matter anymore at this point. Just have to judge it based on what we were given, and Dana and the team absolutely rocked it. It was amazing. It made me love Camila so much more. It made me love Hunter so much more. It's like he's one of those characters you just want to jump into the screen and give this big warm hug to. Like when Luz is comforting him and he starts crying in the house and everything, and it's like under the mask you see this tears start to flow and everything, and then she pulls him close and everything. It's like, oh my god, I want to hug him. I want to give him this big hug. I want to tell him it's going to be okay. And it's like, that's the sign of good character writing. When you care so much about a character that you want to embrace them and comfort them. It's like, that's good character writing. But we're going back to the demon realm. I don't know where this is going to go. I couldn't even begin to imagine. As I kind of said already, I don't think the Collector is straight up evil. He's just, he's a child with godlike power. Belos is the true villain here. And so Belos is going back, and that's who we're going to have to worry about the most. But again, the thing I am really wanting to see, I need to see Ida and Camila coming face to face. I need to see that. I need it so much. I absolutely need it. It is important. Please. Give me this shit. You guys know this is one of my favorite shows. You know this is one of my favorite shows of all time. Second only to One Piece. If the final 2 episodes stick the landing as well, I don't think I would necessarily say it could beat One Piece, because again, One Piece has had just so much more time and everything put into it because of, having over 1,000 episodes and subsequently as well chapters. Or actually it'd be chapters first, then subsequently episodes. You know what I mean. There's been a lot more to it. I've been a fan of it for a lot more in my life, so I don't think it'll surpass One Piece, but it would definitely further cement itself as number 2 and make it harder to surpass with anything else. I could say that much at least. And I've heard some people apparently are comparing this with Amphibia Season 3's human realm part. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do these like strong... I mean, I kind of made a couple like little comparisons earlier, but I'm not going to take the time to make some big comparisons and contrasts and point out like, oh, I think this one's better than the other. I'm not going to do that. I don't hate myself that much. I can just enjoy both for what they did. I can just love on both because both of them were awesome and amazing. Owl House's Human Realm episode was great. Amphibia's 10 Human Realm episodes were absolutely fantastic. They were both absolutely fantastic. They both did what they needed to do with what they had the ability to do. And they both should be praised and not be, fought over which one's better. We don't need to do that. We don't need that kind of negativity. We just don't. Just love on both. They both deserve our love. Both Amphibia and Owl House deserve our undying love. Let us love these shows equally. We can enjoy one more than the other. We can say that, but let's not make it a competition. Let's not like try to put down the other or say like, oh, this one did it so much better. Let's not do that, please. I don't want to see that in the comments. If you just want to say like you preferred one over the other, that's fine, but don't be bitching about what one series did better than the other in this portion of it and what could have been done. Don't. I don't want to hear it. I don't. I just want to love on both. I just want to give big love to both. That being said, we don't know when we're going to get the next episode. So it's going to be sometime next year, hopefully early next year. Hopefully the thought on like every few months is going to be correct and we'll get the next one in like January or so. And then one after that in like April. Like that would be fine. I could live with that. It sucks that we have to wait and everything now, but again, with Disney fucking over Dana and the team and the series probably because of the gay and everything. The gay and the bi and just the queer representation in general. It's like have to take what we can get. So 2 more episodes coming down the pipeline. Obviously, we'll react to those when they come out. And when the series is completed, I will probably do like some final tier lists or whatnot, or rankings or whatnot for like what truly like impressed me and what was the best parts of this and everything. And I'll probably make another AMV for it. I already have a song planned for that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of The Owl House Season 3, this first episode of Season 3? Tell me what you thought down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.